Everyone wants to know what to do to become rich, what to invest in, what morning routine to follow, what books to read, what high-income skill to learn. And sure, those things matter, but sometimes what you don't do matters even more. See, wealth isn't just built by doing the right things. It's protected and multiplied by avoiding the wrong ones. But these wrong ones aren't always obvious. They often hide in plain sight. They're the habits that feel harmless, the decisions you keep postponing, the mindset traps that sound smart, but secretly keep you broke. And the most dangerous part? They don't cost you money today. They cost you opportunity, tomorrow and every day after that. Because money doesn't just grow from effort. It grows from awareness. It grows when you learn to say, no, that shortcut isn't for me. No, I won't trade consistency for comfort. No, I'm done chasing what looks rich instead of what becomes rich. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful things you must avoid if you want to be rich. Not just rich in bank balance, but rich in time, rich in peace, rich in choices. We're not here to shame bad decisions or act like wealth is a perfect science. We're here to shine a light on the quiet habits, the invisible drains, the subtle ways people sabotage their own success. Because once you see them, you can't unsee them. And when you stop feeding what's stealing from you, financially, emotionally, or mentally, you finally start to rise. So if you've ever wondered why some people work hard but stay stuck, if you felt like wealth is always just out of reach, no matter how much you try, if you've promised yourself that this year, things will be different, then this is the video you needed. Because becoming rich isn't just about doing more, it's often about doing less of what holds you back. Let's talk about 5 things you should absolutely avoid if you're serious about building real, lasting wealth. 1. We've all felt it. That pull to make fast money. That urge to catch up, cash out, or hit it big. Now, maybe it's a viral YouTube video that promises you'll make $1,000 a day with zero work. Or a too good to be true crypto scheme. Or a friend who swears this app or side hustle will change your life overnight. And hey, some people do get lucky, but most don't. Because chasing quick money often comes at the expense of building something that lasts. It's like planting seeds versus eating sugar. One gives you a harvest that feeds you forever. The other gives you a high that disappears before you've even tasted stability. Here's the truth. The people who actually become wealthy, the ones who stay wealthy, don't chase quick wins. They build systems, skills, and value that compound over time. They ask different questions. Not what makes money fast, but what makes money forever. Let's look at 2 paths. Path A, the quick win mindset. You jump from hustle to hustle. You spend more time looking for loopholes than learning skills. You get addicted to the thrill of easy money and exhausted by the instability. 1 month you're up, the next you're broke. You start over again and again, but nothing grows roots. Path B, the long-term builder. You pick something, writing, coding, marketing, design, sales, and commit to it. You get a little better each week. At first, the money is slow, but then it gets easier, more consistent, more scalable. A year in, you've built reputation. 2 years in, you've built leverage. 3 years in, you're earning more by doing less because people trust what you've created. This is the path most millionaires take. Not because they're smarter, but because they're patient. Here's the secret. Fast money is loud. Real money is quiet. Fast money flashes Lamborghinis on TikTok. Real money reads books, builds networks, reinvests in skills. Fast money is fragile. One change in the algorithm and it disappears. Real money? It survives seasons, platforms, even personal failure because it's built on value. Ask yourself, am I building something that gets stronger with time? Or am I just hunting for the next hit? Am I creating value that people will still want a year from now? Or am I just trying to escape the discomfort of being in process? Because here's the most honest thing I can tell you. The fastest way to get rich is to stop trying to get rich fast. Trade hype for humility. Trade noise for focus. Trade shortcuts for systems. Wealth is a slow, patient dance with time. And every moment you spend chasing quick money is a moment you could be investing in something real. 2. It's one of the greatest ironies of our time. So many people go broke trying to look like they're rich. While the truly wealthy often look shockingly ordinary, they don't flex the latest brands. They don't upgrade their car every year. They're not concerned with being seen because they're too busy building. Meanwhile, others are spending what little they have to impress people who aren't even paying attention. Why? Because society rewards the appearance of success, even when the foundation is hollow. Because validation feels good. Because debt is easy. Because waiting is hard. But here's the cost. Every dollar spent to look rich is a dollar that could have been invested to become rich. Let's break this down. Looking rich is about optics. The newest phone. The luxury logo. The Instagram perfect vacation. The night out where you cover the bill even though your rent's due tomorrow. It gives you a quick hit of dopamine, a sense of status, admiration, control, but it fades fast. And underneath the surface, debt, stress, delays, missed opportunities. On the other hand, becoming rich is about delayed gratification. It's saying, I'll drive this used car and invest the difference. I don't need a designer bag if it costs me peace of mind. I'll skip the status symbol and buy an income-generating asset instead. It's boring on the outside. But beneath the surface, quiet power, quiet growth, quiet freedom. Real-world example. A 24-year-old earns $2,000 a month. They spend $400 on a designer item every other month. After 1 year, they've spent nearly $2,400 on things that depreciate the second they're unboxed. Now imagine that same $2,400 invested in an index fund, a course to upskill, a freelance business starter kit, equipment to launch a YouTube channel, a website for their service-based side hustle. That's not just spending, that's planting. And over time, that $2,400 could become $10,000, $50,000 or more. But it requires a mindset shift, from appearance to asset, from ego to equity. Why this trap is so powerful? Because we're taught from a young age that being seen as successful is the goal. But here's the truth no one teaches in school. Quiet money builds real freedom. Loud money keeps you performing. And often the ones who look the richest are the ones hanging on by a thread. You want to know who's really wealthy? It's the person who could buy the designer brand, but doesn't need to. Who could upgrade their car, but would rather upgrade their investment portfolio? Who walks into a room and doesn't need to prove anything because they've already earned everything? If you want to be rich, stop performing. Start building. Stop trying to impress. Start trying to multiply. You don't owe the world a display of success. You owe yourself a future that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. Let them chase the look. You chase the life. 3. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. Most people don't stay broke because they're lazy. They stay broke because they don't understand how money works, and no one ever taught them. Not in school. Not at home. Not in the environments they grew up in. Instead, they were handed a script. Work hard, get a job, pay your bills. Don't ask too many questions. And so they stay in survival mode, earning just enough to stay afloat, never enough to break free. Meanwhile, those who do understand the system, they're playing a different game altogether. A game of leverage, assets, and long-term thinking. That game is called financial literacy, and avoiding it is one of the costliest mistakes you can ever make. What is financial literacy, really? It's not about complex spreadsheets or being good at math. It's about knowing how to make money, grow money, protect money. It's about understanding things like interest, debt, cash flow, taxes, risk versus reward. And it's about realizing that your income is not your wealth. It's your behavior with money that determines your future. The trap of survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you're stuck in the earn, spend, repeat cycle. You work hard, pay your bills, feel exhausted, reward yourself with a little spending, then start over again. There's no margin, no plan, no breathing room. You think about today's paycheck, not next year's position. You say, I'll invest when I have more money, not realizing that people with more money invested when they had less. The truth most people avoid. No one is coming to teach you this. No boss, no university, no government. You have to take responsibility for your own education. And today you have no excuse because the tools are free. YouTube channels explaining investing. Books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Psychology of Money, where I will teach you to be rich. Budgeting apps like YNAB or Mint. Free courses on Udemy, Coursera, Skillshare. Podcasts, blogs, even TikToks that break down real money concepts in plain English. You can become more financially literate in 30 days than most people are in 30 years. But only if you decide to care. Wealth requires awareness. Rich people don't wing it. They know exactly how much they spend, where their money flows, how their investments perform, and what opportunities are coming next. Because money doesn't respond to effort, it responds to strategy. And the more you learn, the more options you create. You learn how to negotiate better pay. You realize credit card debt is a silent thief. You stop fearing the stock market. You understand what passive income really means, and what it doesn't. And slowly the fog lifts. You stop living paycheck to paycheck. Not because you got lucky, but because you got educated. So ask yourself, what's costing you more, your ignorance or your income? Because if you want to be rich, you can't afford to stay financially blind. Not in a world where knowledge is free. Not when your freedom depends on it. 4, there's a quiet truth about money that rarely gets talked about. You don't just earn like the people around you. You think like them. You believe like them. You spend like them. You dream like them. And if the people closest to you have small mindsets, constant money drama, or limited ambition, there's a high chance you'll end up the same way. Not because you want to, but because humans are wired for belonging. And sometimes we'll trade progress for acceptance without even realizing it. Show me your circle, I'll show you your ceiling. If your friends constantly say things like, rich people are greedy, we're not meant to be wealthy. Money changes people in a bad way. Investing is risky, just save. You should be happy with what you have. Then every time you try to grow, you'll feel resistance. Not from the world, but from the people you love. Not because they're evil, but because your growth threatens their comfort. You start reading wealth books and they tease you. You skip a party to finish your side hustle and they call you boring. You say no to spending $200 on something flashy and they look at you like you've lost your mind. That pressure, it adds up. And if you're not careful, you'll start shrinking yourself to fit back into their mold. On the flip side, get around people who are building. People who talk about ideas instead of gossip. People who celebrate your wins instead of competing with them. People who challenge you to think bigger, not stay small. And suddenly you'll start rising, not because they're pulling you up, but because their energy reminds you what's possible. It's not just motivation, it's normalization. When making 10K this month is normal in your circle, you stop thinking it's impossible. When everyone is talking about investing, saving, building businesses, and escaping debt, you absorb those conversations. And without even trying it, you evolve. What if you don't have wealthy people around you? Start online. Follow creators who teach financial literacy and business thinking. Join Facebook groups or Reddit threads about entrepreneurship. Watch interviews with self-made millionaires. Comment on YouTube videos and connect with like-minded strangers. Read autobiographies of people who started with nothing. Your environment doesn't have to be physical to be powerful. You can curate your digital world so it lifts you, not limits you. And here's the hard part. You may need to let go of some relationships, not because you hate them, but because they're not growing and you are. It hurts. But staying small to make others comfortable will cost you more than loneliness ever will. Because your future is not a group project. It's your responsibility. And if you want to be rich, you have to start acting like someone who believes they're allowed to be. Surround yourself with energy that matches where you're going, not where you've been. 5. There's nothing wrong with having a job. In fact, for many people, it's a necessary and honorable part of their journey. Jobs can teach discipline. They can help you survive. They can give you structure. But if you want to be rich, truly rich, you can't think like an employee forever. Because the employee mindset is built on trade-offs. Time for money, effort for approval, obedience for stability. The owner mindset, it's built on leverage, on creating systems, on solving problems at scale, on earning even when you're not clocked in. This shift from employee to owner isn't about quitting your job tomorrow. It's about changing how you see the world. And that shift can change everything. The employee mindset asks, what's the safest path? Fears risk more than regret. Waits for permission. Avoids responsibility for income. Focuses on doing what's required, not what's possible. Believes the answer is always to work harder. This mindset is rooted in survival. It was built for the industrial era, when factories needed workers and society rewarded conformity. But in the digital age, that mindset keeps people trapped. Because you can work 40 years in a job and still retire broke if you never learn to own something. The owner mindset asks, what's the smartest way? Leans into risk with calculation. Gives itself permission. Takes responsibility for income, growth, and outcomes. Focuses on creation, not just execution. Believes in systems over sweat. Owners don't just work in systems, they build them. They don't wait to be picked, they pick themselves. They don't just do tasks, they build assets. A blog that earns from ads. A YouTube channel that builds trust. A course that sells while they sleep. A small business that employs others. Investments that pay them monthly. You might be thinking, but I don't have the money or skills to be an owner. That's the employee mindset speaking. Because owners don't wait to feel ready. They start where they are, small, messy, unsure. They learn as they go. They figure it out. They say, I may not know how, but I'm willing to learn. And that willingness, that's worth more than talent. Even inside a job, you can think like an owner. Take initiative. Look for solutions, not just problems. Create processes that improve things. Learn how the business works, not just your role. Build relationships that extend beyond your department. When you start thinking like an owner, you stop seeing ceilings and start seeing possibility. Because here's the truth. The richest people in the world didn't get there by being the best employees. They got there by creating value, owning equity, and refusing to let someone else cap their worth. If you want to be rich, stop asking what job pays the most. Start asking, what can I build, own, or invest in that pays me forever? Your time is valuable, but your vision is priceless. Trade the mindset of labor for the mindset of leadership. So here we are. You came looking for the secrets to wealth. And what we uncovered instead were the silent thieves. The things you must avoid if you ever want to build a life of true freedom. Not just financial freedom, but time freedom. Emotional freedom. Freedom to think, move, live, and breathe on your own terms. Let's remember what we've uncovered together. You avoid chasing quick money because true wealth isn't rushed, it's built. You avoid spending to look rich because peace is more valuable than approval. You avoid ignoring financial literacy because your future depends on what you understand, not just what you earn. You avoid surrounding yourself with small thinkers because your environment shapes your elevation. And you avoid staying trapped in an employee mindset because ownership is where power begins. These are not just 5 tips. They're 5 doors, and every time you avoid one of these traps, you walk through a door that leads to something better. A new level of discipline, a sharper level of clarity, a deeper connection with your future self. Because the truth is, most people don't become wealthy because they didn't want it badly enough. They didn't become wealthy because they kept letting small leaks sink a big ship. They chased shortcuts. They performed success instead of building it. They avoided the hard questions. They stayed in rooms where no one believed it was possible. And they kept trading their power for a paycheck, never realizing they could build something of their own. But that's not you. You're here, you're watching, you're waking up. You're starting to see that wealth is not just about money, it's about mastery. Mastery over your time, mastery over your mindset, mastery over the way you respond to temptation, pressure, and distraction. So here's your invitation. Don't rush to add more. First, start by subtracting. Subtract the things that drain you. Subtract the habits that delay you. Subtract the mindsets that don't serve you. Because sometimes becoming rich isn't about doing more. It's about doing less of the wrong things and protecting the space where real wealth can finally grow. And the good news? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. One better choice at a time. One clearer boundary at a time. One avoided mistake at a time. That's how you build wealth that lasts. Quietly, slowly, powerfully. And when you look back one day, free, confident, in control, you'll realize it wasn't just the moves you made. It was the traps you dodged that made all the difference. Now go build the life that's already waiting for you. It's closer than you think.